Good morning, everyone. Okay, we're on our way to our first service call. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Okay, this channel is going to take us on some oil burner repairs during the course of the day. And just as a quick disclaimer, please do not attempt to service your own heating equipment, HVAC equipment, unless you are a licensed or qualified installer. I assume no responsibility for property or personal damage resulting from unqualified people attempting to repair their own equipment. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so our first service call today is taking us to a no hot water call, and we're going to go there and see what's going on.
Start recording.
We arrived at the destination of the service call, and the heating system is working fine. There is no problem with it. Unfortunately, what we did find was a leak on the oil line near the oil tank. So we're going to have to clear away all the dirt and debris by the oil tank to expose the tubing and affect the repair on the oil line. So here it is, and as you can see, it's a mess over here. So I'm going to have to clean all this out over here, expose this copper tubing, and make a repair over here, because clearly it's leaking over here into the dirt and into the cement. And there's also a compression fitting here that's going to have to be replaced. We never use compression fittings on a fuel oil line, ever. They always leak. You have to use flare. Okay, so once I clear this all away and I can work a little neater here, I will have my flaring tool down here and I'll show you how that's done, and we'll replace the tubing. So let me clear this out first. Alright, I cleared out a lot of the debris from where the oil line is, and now we're going to get a few items from the truck to make the repair. So I'm going to need a 1/2 x 1/2 flare union. There you go, 1/2 x 1/2 flare union. Right here. That's the wrong. Yeah, this one.
Recording.
I made a rough estimate of the measurement for the tubing we're going to need, so we're going to cut that piece right now. Okay, so I'm using a piece of 1/2-inch copper tubing, which is coated with a very strong PVC, which we use this exclusively now. It's quite excellent. It protects the copper tubing from moisture and debris and dirt, whatever elements are present in the basement. So it's definitely worth using. It's a little more money, but well worth it. So now I'm going to use a razor knife to peel back the PVC where we're going to make our flare connection. Okay, that's one. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing here. And this is where it's going to go. We're going to make a cut here as well. Flare the tubing on both sides. And then we're going to replace this compression fitting that we spoke about before with a flare fitting. Like I was saying before, we never use compression fittings on oil lines. They always leak. They're not very dependable fittings, compression fittings. So flare is a much, much better option. I usually use the correct size box wrench for this, but over the years this nut has been distorted and stripped, so the correct size box wrench is not going to fit over this. Okay. Okay, let's see. Alright, good. The valve is holding. Alright, caught a break there, that's for sure. This looks like a nice clean piece right here. We have to make sure that the tubing is not bent or kinked in any way, otherwise the flare nut is not going to slip over. So we have to make sure that it's clear. See, there's a kink there, we can't use it here, so I'm going to cut it right here because this looks pretty good over here. I'll have to get some steel wool and clean this off. Alright, we'll take this out, bring that up. Okay, alright, that worked out pretty well. I didn't have to use the Scotch-Brite pad. That slipped right over. Okay. Alright, now we're going to flare the tubing on this side. And I'm using one of the newest style flaring tool, which I like very much. On the old style flaring tools, it was always necessary to ream the inside of the tubing prior to making the flare. It ensured that the flare would come out burr-free, nice and flat and smooth. But this flaring tool eliminates that. It's self-reaming, and the flare comes out perfect every single time. Okay, so we'll go into the 1/2 inch slot. Alright, now this one works where the tubing, you can just put it about maybe 1/2 inch from the top of the block. And give it a little squeeze to tighten it in. You don't have to go crazy to make this tight. You just give it a little squeeze and that's it, it's tight. Alright, now, here's the beauty of this. You give this approximately 6 turns. You'll have to be the judge of how far to go by inspecting it. The instructions recommend 7 times, but sometimes that's a little too much and then the nut will have trouble sliding over the flare. So you're going to have to make this judgment for yourself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a little bit more. There you go. That is perfect up there. All right, let's see how that came out. Perfect. Okay, that is a perfect flare. I don't know how well you can see that. That came out great. Okay, now we're going to do the other side. So I have to be careful here. Bend that up a little bit. See how it slides? Oh, perfect. Perfect. Great. All right. Did well there. Okay. Now we'll put the union in between. We're not going to tighten it yet because we still have to do the other side. And I have to get that compression fitting out, which is going to be a bear. See that flare? Look at how that flare goes over the fitting. Okay, perfect. Okay, we'll slide that one over. Okay. Needs open end wrench and an adjustable to hold back on. Okay. That's that. Okay, so we're finished. What started off as a huge mess and oil leaking onto the floor has now been repaired. We tightened all the fittings. So after the fittings are tight, it's always a good idea to wipe them clean and run your fingers across the bottom to make sure your fingers are still dry. You don't want to leave any oil leaks after you leave. Okay? Everything looks dry. The valve is open. And that's it. So we're going to leave this down for a few days to absorb. Then we're going to come back. We're going to sweep up all this oil dry. And then we're going to cement the exposed oil line up to this point. So it's protected the way the rest of this line. Well, not all of it, but you get the point. So after the oil line is cemented, then we're going to throw some paint on the floor to cover the stain up and make it look a little nicer. And that's it. Okay, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.